The Torah says, is in regards to the animals that we eat. Hashem is a big makpid. He's very, very stringent in regards to what we eat. And the reason why is he says that everything that you ever eat, whether it's ice cream, or it's a steak, or it's an apple, or anything that you're ever going to eat, is going to turn into blood. Whatever doesn't turn into blood will come out of your system. Now, who told this food, whether it's a steak, to turn into blood, and then the apple comes in, it also turns into blood. And then, on top of that, the burger also turns into blood, and the bun also turns into blood. How come it all turns into blood? Because obviously there's an intelligent designer behind all of this. That this blood, according to Hashem, is part of your neshama, it's part of your soul, which means that you are what you eat. If you eat something impure, you become impure. But what does it mean impure? Does it mean you're a bad person? No, not necessarily. It means that if you try to learn Torah, it becomes nearly impossible. Because the Torah is the only thing that's truly spiritual in the world, and it's complete purity. Which means that if you go to a shiur Torah, and you eat non-kosher food, you're going to be like me when I was first starting to do tshuva. I go to a shiur, I'm completely 100% awake. 5.5 minutes into the shiur, I fall asleep. Why? Because the purity was too much for my neshama to take. So it takes some training and obviously takes some kosher food. Hashem said that how are you going to know if this animal is pure? It says it has to have two signs. It has to have split hooves. It has to chew its cud, redigest its food. You can have approximately 10 different animals that he lists, a little bit more than 10 animals that actually have 10 species that have these two signs. The rest of the animals in the world will not have any sign. It's either two or nothing, except 4. There are 4 animals that have one sign. The pig, the herynx, the rabbit, and the camel. 4 animals. 4 animals only have one of the 2 signs. Every other animal either has 2 signs, which means it's kosher, and the rest of the animals in the world have nothing. What does this mean? This means that if we find animal number 5, there's a mistake in the Torah. If we find another animal with one sign, there's a mistake in the Torah. Baruch Hashem, 3,300 years have passed since we got the Torah, they're still looking. Another interesting thing that Hashem said about the animals, about kosher animals, that we didn't talk about in the last shiur, is that He wanted us to identify the kosher animal from the outside because that's easy for us to know, easier for us to identify. But there's also internal signs inside the animals. Now, according to Judaism, in order for an animal to be allowed for us, to be permitted for us to eat them, they have to be slaughtered in a kosher way. And slaughtered in a kosher way means that the animal cannot suffer, even for 1 second. Now, if you look at a slaughter from the outside and you're not familiar with slaughtering, slaughtering looks really horrendous. It doesn't look like it's not painful, but there's actually scientific proof that it's not painful. All all of the non-kosher animals, including mankind, have all of the blood at some point travels from the heart to the brain. Now, someone is considered alive as long as there's blood going to the brain. As soon as the blood stops going to the brain, you're considered dead. It's not if the blood stops going to the heart. That's just a heart attack, and B'ezrat Hashem somebody gets back. But as soon as there's no longer any more blood going to the brain, you're considered clinically dead. So now, as soon as we disconnect the blood from the brain of the animal's officially dead. Meaning that it's no longer functioning, it dies within a matter of less than a second. Now, all of the animals have two veins that connect to the brain, on the bottom of their neck and on the top of their neck, which means that regardless of, let's say for example, if this is the head of a horse, that means that there will be a vein on the bottom and a vein on the top. Even if we cut the vein, if we slaughter it on the bottom, there's still going to be blood coming from the top, which means that until all the blood comes out of the bottom, he's still going to be alive and he's still going to suffer. He's going to feel the pain because he's still alive. There's still blood going to the brain from the top. So this means that there's no clean way to slaughter a horse or a camel or so on. But if you look at the kosher animals, if you look at the cow, you look at the lamb, you look at the ones that we're allowed to eat, the deer, there's only a few animals. There's a very unique thing about their creation. They also have two veins. But right before they get to the brain, both of the veins connect and become a single vein. Which means that when the rabbi slaughters the animal, he's only cutting one vein, and by the time the remaining blood goes from the end of the vein, from where you cut, to the brain, the animal is already dead. Which means that scientifically, it has never felt pain. If the animal feels pain, it's no longer kosher. So again, this is something that we wouldn't have known 3,300 years ago, unless God told us. And Hashem is telling us that if we have this kosher food, then we can learn His Torah, then we can connect to Him.